And then we send everybody out of the room, and then it's a closed committee discussion. And at that point, the other PhD students are there to kind of hold him up. And then we let him back in and let him know the results. There is a D3 form that's going to be signed. Google has prepared the 5-page version. So he's got a 170-page version, and he's got
No. And now with the D3 form is only 5 pages proposal to the regular school.
Is the committee, is that okay, that format?
I think it's better if you can move a little bit nearer, so because the phone here sometimes is long.
I'm kind of
Actually, we have to give the presentation, so we can.
Right.
We can work from there.
Right. You also have a copy of the presentation on the USD because I don't have the wireless here, so I cannot send it to you.
There's no wireless?
No, it's very weak. It's there, but it's very weak.
No, we use the wireless of the library here.
Yeah, it's not.
We used to have our own wireless router here, but it was broken. So now the wireless you have here is.
Has anybody notified Boris?
I called Boris many times, called me also many times.
Well, don't call. Don't call. Email and copy to me.
Yeah.
I can follow up and.
I even bought a new one. I bring it here, but you don't know how to configure it.
As soon as I get down. And I even brought some extra markers in case we give you a good copy.
Firstly, I would like to thank all of you to be here in today's XP presentation. Especially, I would like to thank Professor Lee, needless to say, for his support. We have a meeting every week. Sometimes we agree, and sometimes we not agree, and sometimes we debate on many issues. And I go live after I finish the candidacy paper. I professionally discuss at least for about 8 different possible topics. And for every topic like that, it took me like about 2 or 3 weeks to go through the literature to see whether it's possible and is it merit or not to do. And finally, we come with the topic that I proposed at the beginning. Remember, in the candidacy paper, I proposed 2 topics. The first one is to reasoning about the control requirement from the heat structure. And the second topic is about responsive control. That means we can add the control into the procedure during the running period of the procedure. And this is the first direction I proposed in the candidacy paper. The ultimate goal of the research that I'm working with Professor Lee is to develop a formal method for redesign of interorganizational control. The interorganizational control here is we control the interaction between different organizations in a transaction. Different with the internal control that you can see in the auditing or accounting theory. They control the behavior of the staff or the member within one organization. The big difference is that within one organization, there is a central authority, a person that can decide, we implement this control, we not implement this control. However, in the interorganizational context, we don't have such kind of a central authority. So the control needs to be negotiated among different organizations. I like to do this, and you like to do this. The point is that if there is one single missing of control in a single sub-process, can make the whole procedure vulnerable to fraud. And another thing is that each of the organization may have their own motivation to behave opportunistically. So the thing is more complicated and it's more difficult to redesign. For this research, for this proposal particularly, we focus on reasoning about control requirements based on DOT process model. To accomplish the redesign methodology here, we need to finish 4 steps. But in this research, I just target on the first 2 steps of the redesign, the overall objective. So the next 2 steps maybe, if I have a chance, stay here for the next couple of years to work on the second proposal or something like that.
So you want to stay here forever?
Yeah.
You don't need to be here to do that.
Yeah. Actually, I'm working professionally on certain kinds of
Discuss this later.
Yeah.
Keep focused.
Okay. So the proposal is organized as follows. Each of the item here is one of the slides, so I have like 26 slides. And the first one I introduce about the result phenomenon, and especially the key issue here is about the deontic reality, the reality of right, duty, privilege, and so on. Everyone sitting here, they are surrounding us a deontic reality. We have a right to sit here in the purple room, and sometimes we have the duty to sit here, like me for
PhD study room.
I'm sorry, the PhD study room. For me, I have the duty to stay here, even though you don't see that. You don't see your right, you don't see your duty. But if you open your pocket, you see a lot of things that carry duty and right. That is about the driving license, this is about the credit card, and so on. So I will talk about the deontic reality and propose a method for redesign based on modeling deontic process. And here we call it deep structure redesign. The concept of this deep structure redesign is not my concept. It's firstly introduced by Professor Lee and his associates in the Erasmus University in Poland. And here I just go a step further in realizing the methodology proposed by Professor Lee and his associates. The second thing I want to talk about is the problem statement. This is, I try to extract the seven nasty questions of Professor Lee, like so what, who care, and so on. So I put all of them into one button about the problem statement. The next two things is about my contribution, especially in this proposal. The first one is about modeling deontic process, how to capture the invisible deontic phenomena like right, duty, privilege, and so on, and how to represent it explicitly. The next thing is that based on the deontic process, how to try to find the best way to implement the process. The best way here is that to prevent possible opportunistic behavior, especially in the context of inter-organizational transaction.
What did the colors mean?
Hmm?
Previous slide. Colors. When it's yellow.
No, this is just the hyperlink when they move the cursor around. Don't, nothing special.
Not meaningful.
Yeah, not meaningful. The thing is, I cannot control the color. The color is belong to Microsoft Office. Okay, so the result phenomenon. Normally, the inter-organizational activities are two mechanisms, the contract mechanism and the procedural mechanism. The contract will specify the contractual duty and right of the involved party in the transaction. Like for instance, what kind of things you need to sell, what kind of things you need to get back. And also the contract defines possible contingency. Like for instance, if you don't sell the product on certain time, what is the penalty you need to pay? Or if you sell it on time or in the earlier time, what is the incentive you have? So the contract also a mechanism to control behavior of the party by specifying the contractual duty and right, and associate with that is the incentive and penalty for possible violation and so on. The procedure, on the other hand, will specify the movement of information, like what information I need to have in order to proceed my task, and after I proceed my task, what information I need to produce and send it to the next person in the chain of procedure. So there are two mechanisms cooperate together to control behavior of the involved parties in an inter-organizational transaction. Due to bounded rationality, most contracts do not specify all of the possible contingency. If we need to specify all possible contingency, then the contract would be 1,000 pages and so on. So no one do like that. So because the incomplete, what they say about the incomplete contract, leaving room for possible opportunism. That is the reason why we need control in procedure to compensate for that. So you imagine the contract specifies certain way of control, but there are some other possible opportunism to circumvent the control in the contract because the contract cannot specify all of the contingency. So we need control in the procedure to compensate for that. Gradually, over time, this led to complex inter-organizational procedure. The World Trade Organization statistics show that for some international trade procedure, the number of parties involved is about 30 parties and 40 different types of documents. Trading of the dangerous product like chemical product, for instance, may require 50 parties involved. So that's really complicated procedure. So the problem, the question here is that how to redesign control in the interorganizational procedure without making the revised procedure vulnerable to fraud. The thing is, we look at the current procedure, and the purpose of redesign or simplification, the word they usually use to simplify the procedure. We try to come there to cut off some of the bureaucratic control, but at the same time,